Hello, I'm Valentine Garage Flowers. Welcome to a new show designed for those of you who are just waiting for the rat-a-tat-tat of the reaper's scythe on your bay window. It's called Old Men in Old Cars Buying Old Oh look, it's my old friend Osbert Pating. So, the premise is quite simple, even for you Aussie. I think you went to the other place, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes. We each have 1 hour and £20 to buy and find the most interesting and profitable antique item that we possibly can. So, Aussie,
Yes.
Here's your 20 sheets. Off you go.
Thank you.
So, we each had 1 hour in Rochdale to find the most interesting and profitable antique item that either of us could discover. Aussie, what did you find?
Well, Valentine, I bought this rather decorative cup. It's a jug. I like it.
Well, I also looked for a pile of old like that, but in the end I decided to dispense my 20 sheets on some baggies, some bicarbonate of soda, and some Charlie from some handy lads round the corner. Let's see who can garner the most in profit. Let the best man win.
Yes.
So, how did you get on, Aussie?
Well, Valentine, for some reason, nobody seemed to want to buy my rather decorative jug.
No Sherlock. In stark contrast, I managed to turn my 20 quids with a blow into £60 and I got up.
Gosh.
Here, give me that. Qualities of classic bikes and also a deep knowledge of the history.
I can't think of anyone suitable.
I can't. Henry Cole. Where did he come from? All of a sudden he just appeared, oh yeah, motorbikes. You were like, when I got on the telly, I'd already edited 3 motorbike magazines before I even saw a TV camera.
Finish your anecdote off, my arm's hurting.
So I'm at the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance and I've fully suited up for the occasion and poshified the Lancastrian twang so the Americans can understand what I'm talking about. So I'm wearing the blue blazer and the stripy tie and I'm going, hello, yes, we're from the BBC and I need a Jimmy Riddle, so I've gone to the facilities, which to say that they were temporary were very, very swanky. And as I walked in, I realised that the great man himself was stood there attending to his business. Giorgetto Giugiaro, the greatest car designer, bar none, except for Ian Callum and Pete Stevens. But I'm only saying that because I know them and they're sort of my mates. All right, lads. I'm not going to be ungentlemanly and disturb a chap while he's about, the thing that a man has to do. But because he's Italian, I know he's going to waft over to the mirrors to check out his barnet, which for a man of his age was very impressive, I have to say. So I get next to him at the sinks and I thought, straight in there, Berry, here's your chance. And I said, Maestro, you see what I did? It was like, master. And he was like, And he turned to me and I said, your greatest design? And he did the thinker thing. He went like that. And he went, Panda. He just said Panda. And I nodded, oh, yeah. And then as he was leaving, he stopped and whirled round and he went, Originale. And I went, oh, I didn't even say anything for once. I just went, oh, of course. Panda Originale. And when you think about it, that fella is generally acknowledged to be the greatest at the thing that he does, car design. And he reckons that this car is his greatest design, and so do I. This is the Italian Mini. This is the Italian original Mini, I think, in the way that it was a massive sales success. They took it to their hearts. It's kind of in the way that the Mini was so much an integral part of British culture, not just car culture, but British culture at that time. The Panda is a part of Italian life from the 80s and 90s.
airports have been...
Look at that XJ40! Come on, baby! When are you going to see an XJ40 randomly parked at the side of the road?
This is why I don't answer your questions.
Why?
Because when I start, you talk about something else.
Well,
Have you noticed that?
I didn't park an XJ40 randomly at the side. When was the last time you saw a beige XJ40 just parked at the side of the road?
Oh!
Oh, God.
How about that?
Well, clearly not a 90s car, so, stick to the topic, Paul. That's the problem with you, mate. You can't stay on the topic. You get distracted and go off at a tangent for some reason.
Wouldn't the Fiat 500 have been more of the equivalent Italian Mini?
I don't think so. I think... it's tricky. I think the Fiat 500 is much more like the Austin 7 in terms of what it means in an attractive older woman. See, I'm like a cat, really, aren't I? Like a human cat. I just get distracted by simple things, and then there's no hope of getting me back. Do you know what? We've said that some cars just drove themselves. Like that. Do you remember that Toyota Starlet that we drove?
Aye.
More than any other car that we featured, that car drove itself. This car doesn't drive itself because it's not got power steering. And the brakes don't seem to have that much servo assistance. You've really got to drive it, which I enjoy. Is that why the streets are so wide?
Could be.
Look how wide the street is. Look how tiny this car is, and look how wide the street is.
Yeah, how many Fiat Pandas could you fit abreast on this street?
So when the Panda came out, and here are some examples of the great man's design genius. When it came out, apparently just before they launched it at Geneva, they presented it to Fiat management and they went, yeah, what about the interior? And they said, what do you mean, what about the interior? And they said, yeah, well, put the interior in and bring it back. And they went, this is the interior. Because there wasn't all this. This is a brief 2 years they ran this for, 93 to 95. Fiat Panda 1000. Yeah, a 1000. Look, it's got a 5-speed gearbox. So don't come here and think, oh, have I got to wait for an old person to cross the road? Yeah, you're in Blackpool. You've only got old people. Miniature golf. Oh my God. Paul, if there's one thing I hate, it's golf. And if there's one thing that I love, apart from you, it's miniature golf. Or as I prefer to call it, crazy golf. And that's crazy with a K. Oh yeah, innit?
Why has it got a K?
Because everybody knows that if you substitute a K for a C or a
comic.
Z for an S, it makes it more enjoyable, doesn't it?
No.
And cooler.
I wouldn't say it makes it cooler or more enjoyable.
I haven't opened the door a bit. It's getting a bit heated in here. Now, people are going to get confused there and they're going to go, when I used to go round to my granny's, she used to put Mantovani records on. And it was some cheesy bloke, like the Italian equivalent of Bobby Crush. Do you remember Bobby Crush?
A bit.
He was from Blackpool. See, right, you don't get this on any other YouTube channel, do you?
No, because we don't talk about it.
We're in Blackpool, and I'm talking about Bobby Crush, because Giugiaro's mate that did the oily bits at Ital Design was called Mantovani. And there was I know there's an XJ40 there. Now you're trying to distract me by going, look at XJ40, knowing that I'll have to look at it. I sold my XJ40 to a man from Blackpool. How confusing is this getting?
That's not confusing, because you wouldn't have mentioned it if we weren't in Blackpool. I mean, just in an XJ40.
Well, I'm mentioning Bobby Crush because if you remember Bobby, I think he was on New Faces. You don't remember that, you're not old enough.
I do remember.
It was like Britain's Got Talent, except with, instead of Simon Cowell being a sneery old queen, it was a fella called Tony Hatch being a sneery old queen. Well, what do we think was competition for a car like this in 1993? So it's 1000cc, it's the fire engine, 45 brake horsepower, 55 miles to the gallon.
The Mini.
The Mini?
Yeah.
The actual Mini, not the Metro. Do you know what? I think you're right.
The actual Mini, well, and the Metro as well, really.
So by the... Yeah.
I'll tell you what's hot in here.
I'll tell you what's... Is it?
It's really hot, yeah.
That's because you've been outside.
Go on,
Stop
sorry.
interrupting me! Here's what I think might have been competition for this car. The Fiat Uno. Which is an odd thing to say, isn't it? Because it's made by Fiat, who also made this car. But I remember going into an Alfa Romeo showroom in the 90s. An Alfa 75 with a 3-litre V6 engine. An Alfa 90, which I subsequently owned, with a V6 Busso engine. And an Alfa 75 with a V6 Busso engine, and then in the corner an Alfa Spider, and that was it. Alfa Romeo had 4 cars in that showroom in Bolton, and 3 of them were essentially the same car. So I think this is from that period where manufacturers would sometimes compete with themselves. I think a lot of people would have gone to a Fiat showroom back then and thought, do I want an Uno or do I want a Panda? Because in many respects, they're very similar cars, aren't they?
Well, the Uno's just a bit bigger, isn't it?
No.
I thought
Not
it was.
inside. I'll bet you an Uno wasn't bigger than this inside. There's only one way to find out.
There just happens to be one parked over there. Oh no, it's an Audi A3. Same thing.
It's always an Audi A3, something like that.
Oh, George Formby.
George Formby was from Formby. He wasn't from Wigan. Right, quick quiz question, big in the 90s, huh? Who's the only person who's ever won the Grand National and the Senior TT on the Isle of Man? You're thinking, that must be some sort of sports person.
I would have thought it'd been a horse. Right.
But all I'm saying is, the answer is, your man, George Formby, obviously born in Wigan. What an excellent person he was. The more I find out about him, the more I like him, not just because he was a Lancastrian. And he was, of course, before it was fashionable, a massive, massive motorcycle enthusiast. In fact, I've spoken to people in the industry, old boys from back in the day, and they've said, whenever there was a rumour that we had a new bike, George used to get his missus to ring up. His wife was the power behind the throne, as in so many of these celebrity types. And she used to ring up and go, hey, first bike, first one of them new Nortons or Triumphs for George. During the war, he put himself in clear and present danger to go and entertain the troops. Can you imagine 1 minute, like, you know, the Luftwaffe are bombing the what's it out here and the shells are landing, and the next minute a bloke rocks up with a ukulele and goes, hey, turned out nice again, hasn't it? Not sure quite how that would have been good, but never mind. Let's get a picture of us with Les. Look at that.
Les Dawson.
I demonstrated the turning circle of the Fiat Panda, which I had incorrectly said wasn't that great, when clearly it's absolutely brilliant, because look at this. So when you think it's a city car, when people say, oh, it's our new city car, and you think, well, is it as nippy as a Fiat Panda? And when we were just up there and you were filming me, do you know what I did? Because I'm a bad boy. I went down a cycle lane, and this fitted through the bollards for the stop cars from going down. It fitted down so easily, it was ridiculous. It wasn't a tight squeeze. It was intended to stop any kind of motor vehicle going through, and an original Fiat Panda just went through like that. This is a proper city car. Hi, I'm Steve Berry, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I've not got any hair. So what's a lad to do? Well, avoid the expense, the inconvenience, and the excruciating agony of a Ryanair trip to Turkey and coming back looking like you've had 3 Weetabix glued to your head with the Unshaver from Ronco. It's like a shaver, but instead of taking it off, it puts it on. The Unshaver, only from Ronco. Now back to the car. Right. Who would drive a Fiat Panda?
Yeah.
Right, Chris Packham, off of like nature programs.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you there, because I was going to say something similar.
Yeah, but do you know what he actually had when I was like talking to him and technically working with him?
A shad.
He had a Honda Fireblade. I don't think he's got it now because he's got a bit more righteous and planet savoury.
I reckon Bill Oddie would have one of these.
Bill Oddie?
Yeah. Bill Oddie. Oh.
Is it all right to talk about Bill Oddie? Do you know why you like Bill Oddie? Because he's from bloody Rochdale, that's why. Obviously you like Bill Oddie because he's from blinking Rochdale.
That's not why.
Paul's there not doing full disclosure. Like just saying that as though people go, oh yeah, I like Bill Oddie. Oh no, why Paul likes him? Because he was from Rochdale.
No, Bill Oddie's got the same appeal as a dog. It's just like small and friendly and beardy.
I think he'd been a bit with the ladies. You know the ladies, they get upset, don't they?
Well,
we've never had a lady on Big in the 90s, have
Doris's.
we? The Dorises. That was satire. God, you can't get away with anything these days. Me and Paul are modern men. We don't. Nobody's getting coerced around here except Paul. Today's walk round is inevitably going to be shorter than these bits are because it's such a small car. It's Diddy, isn't it, Paul?
Diddy indeed.
Do you see what I've done there? Diddy. The Diddy men. Ken Dodd's companions. Ken Dodd, a man of Liverpool, just there, who was famous in this part of the world for his regular appearances at various theatres and other palaces of entertainment in nearby Blackpool. But we're not in Blackpool, we're in Lytham St Anne's, or to give it its proper name, Royal Lytham St Anne's, which is where people from the northwest come to die. When they've stopped engaging with life and they're waiting for the Reaper's call, they come here for a few years and enjoy the sea air. Look at these rolling dunes. How lovely. Do you not think, Paul?
I think it's fantastic.
Another thing that's lovely is this Fiat Panda. 1993, 1000. Look at this. It's got a 1000cc engine, which for a Panda was pretty damn big. On launch in 1983.
A-Reg.
Yeah, you could have a 4-cylinder engine, or you could have the twin-cylinder air-cooled 692cc engine out of like the Fiat 126. This, as well as being 1000cc, is a CLX. And you're thinking, CLX? Well, what do I get for the extra stuff? Just the decal? No. Or do we say decal, Paul? What do you reckon?
Decal.
Do we say decal?
I think so, yeah.
Like decaf?
Yeah.
Like you have your coffee because you're a bit of a
I don't.
wet lettuce. Well, I'll tell you what you get. Tinted glass. And get this, tinted glass that's kind of tinted the same colour as this lovely metallic paint. I like this colour. What should we call this colour, Paul? Bearing in mind it's an Italian car, what are we calling it? Green?
Maggot cheese.
Well, say something if it's only good night nurse. You get, on the CLX, a heated rear windscreen, a rear windscreen wiper, and a washer. I'm assuming that's a squirty for the washer, Paul.
Looks like it.
Let's have a look in the boot. One strut. See, this is the genius of Giugiaro. They said to him, can you make a car which is well designed, well made, but cheap to make? Because they realised they were going to make millions, and they did make millions of these, right? So, one strut, not two. This is often used by swanky, up their own backside car journalists who write for coffee table publications that you have to subscribe to and have a weird, wacky name like Bill or something like that, and then you have to try and work out that it's actually a car magazine. Yeah, they do it deliberately. Yeah.
Bill.
Pretentious people. Some people are pretentious. Not us. We're not pretentious. Look at him. How could he be pretentious? Shall we see how much room there is in the back, Paul?
Go on.
Can I point out, though, this fabric? Now, in a previous episode of Big in the 90s, I was wearing an oilskin coat. It caused some comment. It was a one-off oilskin made by Italian fashion house Missoni, best known for their quality knitwear. You knew that, didn't you, Paul?
No.
But this seat fabric on this Fiat Panda CLX really reminds me of like the way Missoni do things. I wonder if they were involved in some way in this. And look, unlike a lot of cars, in fact, unlike virtually every other car, the fabric, the fabric is incorporated into the dash and into this sort of, look how clever that is. And it rolls around like that. And
It's like a hammock.
It's like a hammock, Paul. Yes, and because it's Italian, that's the ashtray. So if I wanted to have like one of those stinky foreign cigarettes, you know, like foreign type smoke, Paul, or used to back in the day, you could go, here, have a Galois, and then you go, oh, give us a drag on your Galois. Okay, oh, there you go, have the ashtray as well. I'll push the ashtray along to you. I mean, it's not that easy, is it? Because, but how clever is that? Plus, here's something else that I really like. That's how you open the door. And it's incorporated into the same thing that you use to physically open and close the door. That's what releases it. Then, of course, there's this corrugated panel here. There's no reason for that to be corrugated, and there's no reason for them to have that Fiat logo pressed into it there, except that it looks better. And you've got a door bin delete on this model, because presumably, although this was top of the range, that would have been optional. Let's see how easy or difficult it is for a man of average size. Do you know I'm almost exactly the average size of a British man, Paul?
Yes, I do, because you've told me. In fact, you said that you're slightly taller.
Well, there's some debate as to whether it's 5'9" or 5'10" that's the average height for a British man. And I'm 5'10". But the average weight of a British man is 13 stone and 3 pounds. And that's almost exactly what I am. Even though most of it's muscle, obviously. Yeah.
Most of it's kept up there.
Let's see how easy or difficult it is to get into the back. Right, so obviously the seats. Right, the seats are a lot bigger and more comfortable than they have any right to be. They're great, aren't they? We've been riding around in this. I really like these front seats. Let's see how grim it is in the back, because it's going to be. Hold on. Right, now, it was never going to be easy to get in the back of such a small car. But once you're in the back, let me put my seatbelt on. Once you're in the back, it's not bad.
What about with the seat in place, front seat in place?
Hold on! I hate you. Why did you do that?
Well, trying to trap you.
You could have injured me.
What, with an Italian seat?
There we are. Right, put it back again now. Wow. I'm going to say that this is pretty great. Look how much headroom I've got. Look how much shoulder room I have. Look how much room there is in front of me and for my legs. And if I want to, I can do that. And at the same time I was knocking my microphone off, I can enjoy some fresh airs here at the seaside in lovely Lancashire. Do you know what, Paul? We could be on the Amalfi Coast, couldn't we? We could be in Positano, looking forward at this time of the afternoon to perhaps an aperitif, maybe a glass of Cinzano and some salted herrings, perhaps. What do you think?
Yeah, I fancy that now.
Or maybe an ice cream, a gelato. Because just like if you say Italian car words in Italian instead of English, like, you know, Sedeci Volvo or Quattro Porte or whatever, it sounds better. If you say ice cream in Italian, gelato, it sounds better. And it's more. That's why it's more expensive. It's the same thing. Here's a bit of an issue. Because the seat won't stay in position, I've got to keep it pushed forward or else it'll fall back on me like that. But it don't weigh anything, so it's not like a problem. But let me just see if I can get my fat ass through that gap. Just about. It's a bit undignified for a man of my age, all this rolling in and out, isn't it, Paul?
I think you enjoy it.
I was going to say, let's go around the pointy end. But there isn't a pointy end on this guy. It's two boxes. It's very much two boxes, isn't it? I think the best thing Les Dawson's inspiring me with his, because he was a great writer, Les. He's inspiring me with his literary aspirations. I think the best line I ever put was that shaking the hand of Dame Joan Collins was like being handed a songbird that had recently expired. Not bad, that one, was it, Paul? Spare wheels there. That's a battery. We know all of these things. And this is a pretty big engine for a Panda. And this is a pretty hot engine. 45 of your brake horsepower was from a 1 litre version of the 4-cylinder water-cooled Fire, F-I-R-E engine in this Fiat Panda CLX. 45 horsepower, 55 miles to the gallon. That's what you want to know, isn't it? Top speed, I have no idea. I have no idea. What would be the top speed of this car, Paul? What do you reckon?
84.
84. Would you want to go faster than 80 in a car like this?
I wouldn't want to go faster than 60 in it.
Right, 0 to 60 in?
22 seconds.
I don't know. Probably. Who cares? That's not what it's for, is it?
No, stop asking me the question.
The important thing is 55 miles to the gallon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look at this, super original. You've even got the sticker there to tell you what kind of oil to use. Selenia. Make sure you only use a Selenia. And all these stickers here, look how original this car is. More clever design. Right, there's your filler bottle for the windscreen washer. And look, there's an official Fiat screwdriver that goes in that hole there. And look how clever this is. It's the wheel brace. Look at that, they're taking the wheel off. But it's right there where you need it. And when you're done with it, there's a little hole there that you put it in. And then that plastic thingy there on top of the filler bottle holds it in place. Clever design. Clever design on what I'm calling a four-wheel Vespa. Because that's exactly what this is. It's the same deal. It's a utilitarian object that has been cheaply made but well made and very cleverly designed to offer stylish but super affordable transport. Clearly, this is meant to be top of the range, CLX 1000. Clearly, there's meant to be some sort of badge in there that says, hey, buy one of these, it's great. Or if you've already bought one, hey, look what I've got a super duper. It's just a rubber bong. Look at that. And then obviously there's meant to be a badge in there as well that says, like, if this was the 4x4, they're worth money. You get a 4x4 version of this original Panda. You're looking, it's going to sound nuts, but honestly, have a look. Between 10 and 15,000 quid. Ooh. Honestly. Ooh. The good people who bought them, use them. I remember going to Italy, late 80s, early 90s, when, I think I've mentioned this before, I was the editor of Scootering magazine. So I went to Italy quite a lot. From Aosta in the north, to Puglia in the south, to Sicily, to Sardinia, to Rome, to Naples, to Turin, a lot. Bologna, Venezia, Rimini, the Italian Blackpool, Rimini. Went there quite a bit as well. And you'd see these everywhere. And you'd see them mint like this one. And you'd also see them just absolutely battered and shattered and just worn to death. Still going, still rattling through those streets, still going down those narrow passageways in those old medieval Italian towns and cities, which is what this was built for. It's a four-wheel Vespa, the Fiat Panda. I love them. I think, Paul, forget that Bentley. This is my favourite car we've done so far. I absolutely love it. In fact, I want it. Do you know what I was going to do? I was going to get us to smoke a cigarette. Because I wanted us to do that for effect.
What, watching us both cough?
I wanted us to do something which was perfectly legitimate and normal in the 90s, which seems strange now, to illustrate the difference between what we thought was a good economy starter car, an affordable car, maybe a young person's first car, the difference between that in the 90s and that now. But I couldn't find anywhere that sold cigarettes, so I got ice creams instead.
Yeah, but I wanted chips.
Why would they have chips in an ice cream parlour?
It's about 2 degrees out here. How's that going to melt? You have to actually chew it up.
Do you know what? Coming to the seaside in the middle of winter and eating ice creams, I love, because it's contradictory.
It is,
and
yeah.
you know what I'm like?
Contradictory.
I'm a contradictory man.
Actually, I tell you what, I agree with you. I like it. I'm glad you bought this instead of chips. Although I would like some chips right now.
Yeah, you're making me want chips. And I don't even like chips.
Do you know?
No, I like ice cream.
I bet there is chips in there, isn't there? You just thought, I don't want any of those things. I want a contradictory ice cream. You're spilling ice cream all over the microphone.
Do you know what this conversation's reminding me of?
What?
Being at the British seaside on a cold day with a complaining child. As a father of 3, I'm familiar with that scenario. And this in North reminding me of it. So shut up or else you won't get any chips. Yeah, I think at one point Lancia had 3 cars on sale in the UK. They had the Thema, which you could get with a Ferrari engine. They had the Delta Integrale, and they had the White Hen, which was somewhat at odds with Lancia's image as a manufacturer of quality vehicles for like people of discernment and good taste like us. What do you think?
How can you not smile whilst driving this?
How could you not smile? Very easily. Do that window up. I'm getting the right draft in the back.
Wrong way. It's, I'm really cramped. It's really dizzy in here, but gosh, it's fun.
This back seat's fantastic. Although, if there were 3 people on the back in the back, at least 2 of them would have to be children, I would imagine, or dwarves, or No, dwarves are quite wide in the beam. Midgets. Yeah, I said dwarf when I meant midget.
What's interesting, you go into 5th gear and then the sticks onto your leg.
I can't hear what you're saying. I can't believe that I can't hear what you're saying in such a small car.
Yeah, well, you're such a long way off.
There's a lot, weirdly, there's a lot of, what do you mean I'm such a long way? There's a lot of tyre noise here in the back, which is a bit odd. I suppose there's no sound deadening material as such, because that would just add weight, wouldn't it? And that was the last thing they wanted. They wanted to maximise the performance, and they wanted to maximise the fuel economy. 55 to the gallon in combined use.
It's probably not so much the weight or the fuel economy, but just the extra cost.
Shall we take it on the motorway?
No.
Let's not do that. No, let's not do that, because that's not what it's for. It's a stylish, funky little city car, and I think it was cheap enough when it was new to have been on Bullseye. And one! Yeah, do you know the rule, Paul?
Yep, £5,000.
£5,000. So those of you that didn't know the rule, the reason it was either a mini Metro, an Austin Metro, or a Fiat Panda, or a speedboat on Bullseye, they're bringing it back with a former Top Gear presenter, aren't they, Bullseye?
Are they?
Yeah, and a good Lancashire lad with a great sense of humour.
What, you?
No! Bloody Flintoff!
Is he really doing Bullseye?
Yeah. He thinks I'm making it up. Right, Paul will probably edit this in so it makes it sound like I've got some sort of chronic like head trauma and just keep repeating myself. Yeah. I reckon, Paul, the design is genius. I think this is Giugiaro's, like he did when I met him. Did I mention that? I met him at Pebble Beach in California.
You did mention that
and
before.
I did, and I said to him, what's your greatest design, maestro? And he said, Panda Originale. And he said it just like that. Yeah, I reckon he was right. Because never mind the Lotus Esprit or the DeLorean or anything else that he was involved with. Can I have some sweets?
You don't need sweets. Imagine you on Smarties. You'd be mad, wouldn't you?
Smarties?
Yeah, well, but you and a bag of Skittles. And...
I was going to say, you want to see me on Skittles?
Yeah.
What was in that ice cream that you bought me? But they weren't fit to go and fetch the daddy's sauce for Les's pies, of which he was obviously a fan, because he was a big lad, wasn't he? But one of his favourite sayings was about as funny as a fire in an orphanage. Fire. The Fiat Panda. It'll become apparent in just a minute. I'm trying to make a connection, Paul, that isn't really there, but never mind. It's incredibly tenuous, but it is me. Come on. steering. Like, what use would power steering be on one of these? 1980, the Fiat Panda. I love watching Italian language YouTube videos. They get the best narrators for their videos, who have voices miles better than mine, Paul.
Oh, I've hit the screen already. How close I am to the door here.
Introducing Fiat Panda. Where did they get those guys from? Scusi, na si. They're like this sort of, you know. I can't sit here and not admit that they sound like the people that you hear sometimes in old school European porn movies. Oh, hello.
I wondered what's so familiar about that.
It's the same guy. It's the same guy that used to come round and go, I come to mend your windscreen. Or whatever it was. Hey, look at this, isn't it great? We're having a day out at the seaside.
It's Diddy.
I love this car already. Although, look at that. The steering wheel for straight ahead is like...
It's a bit, isn't it?
It's a bit over there. I can't believe that at this time, Citroen was saying, yeah, you only need one spoke on the steering wheel. And Fiat was saying, no, you need 4. Because, do you know why I say Citroen? This car was directly inspired by the Renault 4. They told the fella, I mean, they say Giugiaro was responsible for the design of this car. And I'll come to him in just a second, because I've got an absolutely Paul A-list anecdote about the Fiat Panda. Just you wait till I bring this one out.
Go on.
Well, do you want me to do it now?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Otherwise you'll forget.
Oh, I'll forget?
Yeah.
Wow, what's that? We seem to be in like Greece or somewhere like that. That's like, what is he? Wow, it's like a temple. Oh, it is Greek. What's it say there? The White Church?
Wow. That way, down there.
What do you mean that way?
Go down there.
All right. Oh, wow. Hold on. Ah, there's the indicators. Wow, it's amazing how much the steering loads up with you on board.
Typical, it would be my fault.
It's not your fault, Paul. I'm just pointing out that a lot of people would say, oh, why would you want power steering on such a small car? You wouldn't believe how much effort is actually required at the wheel. No wonder they put 4 spokes on the steering wheel. Right, so I'll tell you the anecdote.
Yeah.
So, I am at one of the world's premier Concours d'Elegance at Pebble Beach in California in the United States, where it's all uber swanky, except the Americans make it uber swanky in a way that as a European you think, oh, that's a bit naff. You know, it's all like, you just think, I'll do it again, right?
You'll do what again?
The whole thing.
Don't do it all again, otherwise...
I don't want to be anti-American. I might have to go back there. So I'm at the Pebble Beach car show, and Ralph Lauren's there, and Calvin Klein's there, and other people who have put their name on underpants are also there. Like Jay Leno. I've never had Jay Leno. I can't imagine Jay Leno underpants. I think they'd be what... I bet Jay wears what my missus would call tighty whities.
Oh, what kind of person do you think would buy the Jay Leno underpants? They're throwing you over there.
Not me. I think we should get Ronco to make Jay Leno underpants.
I reckon.
There should be a Ronco Jay Leno collaboration.
Yeah.
To make what Jay
would you model them?
I'd model them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think if Jay modelled them, he'd injure himself. Have you noticed how many accidents he's had recently?
No, not really.
I think he needs to calm down a bit. I mean, I'm not saying I haven't had the odd incident or accident in my time, but he's had about half a dozen in the last 2 years. I feel a great affinity with Les because I feel that, I mean, I don't really like to say it out loud, but I'm going to. I feel that we are both educated men, curious men who have had an interest in in life and culture and art and music and science and history and philosophy and all that sort of stuff. And we've tried to incorporate it into the efforts that we've made to entertain the public, but we've both been pigeonholed as rough-handed northern types who'd be happy with a pint of mild, 10 woodbines, you know, that sort of thing. Les was a lot more intelligent, well-read and cultured than anyone gave him credit for. The reason he could play the piano really badly is because he could actually play the... Yes, Paul, because he could play the piano brilliantly. And at one point, he lived in Bury. Yeah. My mate was his paper boy. He lived in Unsworth, Les Dawson. To me, the best of those, like, 70s... And here's the thing about Les. He never interfered with anybody that didn't want interfering with. There's absolutely no skeletons in Les's cupboard. No skeletons, not with a big tub on him like that. When have you ever seen a Fiat Panda? Original Fiat Panda, not the one that came later, which I crashed quite heavily on the launch in Sardinia, but we'll talk about that another time. I've been accused the person who was sat where Paul is of being a bit of an old woman because he was complaining about me driving. And I binned it in the middle of telling him to stop complaining about me driving. That's
what I fear all the time.
Oh, shut up, you old woman. Oh, that's exactly what I said to that bloke just before I crashed.
Introduce Roy Harper, Amanda Barry, Les Dawson.
Roy Harper?
Bobby Ball.
Hats off to Harper.
Hats off to Harper. It looks a bit like that guy at Nirvana.
Come in here, boy. Have a cigar. You're going to go far. Roy Harper, the man who sings Have a Cigar by the Pink Floyd. Yeah, it's not one of the Pink Floyd. It's not car enthusiast Nick Mason or the guys that don't speak to each other anymore. It's him, Roy Harper, born in Manchester. Roy lived in Lytham from the age of 6.
Yeah, so it's not Kurt Cobain then.
Come in here, dear boy, have a cigar. What's it off Coronation Street?
Oh yeah, I recognise now.
Yeah, and she was Carry On Cleo, wasn't she? She was Cleopatra in Carry On Cleo. I never liked her. Was she in Benidorm? Because that's like the Spanish equivalent of Blackpool, isn't it? No, that was Sherry Hewson. You're going, that was Sherry Hewson. Well, I mixed those two people up. They're very similar. The same way that people say to me, I loved you on The Word back in the 90s. You were great.
But that hurts, doesn't it?
Well, seeing as Terry Christian comes up to approximately nipple height on me, yeah. And because I have a rounded Lancastrian accent, and he talks like that, like Nicky Hatton and all them Manchester lot what talk like that, you know what I mean? Completely differently.
You don't want that.
So I find the fact that you mix us up as offensive as those people who think that I'm from Yorkshire. Not from Yorkshire. I've been to Yorkshire, but not from Yorkshire. And here, come on, proper Hall of Fame, this and it, Bobby Ball. I thought he were from Oudham, him and his pal.
Yeah, I did as well.
Is the other one still alive?
Tommy Cannon.
He could hook up with the Chuckle brother. Why don't them two get together? Tommy Cannon and, is it Paul Chuckle that's still alive?
Yeah.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
What could they call themselves? The Chuckle Balls.
Chuckle Balls.
The Chuckle Balls. It's just an idea. Right. Yeah, but it's your editing technique. I think that I have to repeat things ad nauseum. Yeah, pretentious. Ad nauseum. Which means over and over again. 2 years I won the Latin prize at the grammar school. Did you know that? Have I mentioned it?
You might have done.
Right.
Do you also want to mention you used to be in Top Gear?
I think I should have done everything that I did on Top Gear from the back seat of the cars and got somebody else to drive them.
Dawson and Battersby.